Welcome back to Talkin' Shop with ShopSabre. I'm Brandon. I'm actually here today with Garrett. Garrett's on with us today. Garrett, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. We'll see how I can. I got big shoes to fill, so we'll see if I can keep up with Jesse's speed.
Yeah, right. Jesse's got some stuff going on, so he couldn't make it today. But don't worry, everybody. He'll be back next week, I'm sure. But we're with Garrett today, and unfortunately, Garrett controls the mics, so I got to be nice to him today. Don't I, Garrett?
Yeah, something like that.
So we're going to talk a little bit today about supply chain issues, the world. I mean, we're in kind of a weird state. I mean, Garrett, you just ordered some truck parts, if I'm not mistaken, in the last month, and it seemed to take forever to get them, did it not?
It took way too long. I mean months.
Yeah, ridiculous. I mean, it's one of those things where I think you called them 27 times, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
And, it kept saying that, oh, it's next week, we're going to get it, and we try to understand because we all get it. I mean, we all want our stuff yesterday that we ordered today, and the world is kind of moving at a pace that's kind of unknown. We're moving at speeds faster than we've ever done in the past, and, obviously COVID really messed things up last year, and, I think it really messed with the supply chain. Don't you think so, Garrett?
I mean, from what I've seen in orders and things like that, like you said, with me ordering truck parts, I think it's definitely had a big impact on, like, most industries.
Yeah, it's not just one industry. And, obviously everybody listening is probably dealing with it somewhere in their life right now. I think right now it's like $914 for a 2x4 or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. It's just stupid prices out there right now. But, what the heck is going on? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the world's craziness with supply chain. When you look at the supply chain in, really I think what comes back to is we got to talk about the supply chain, really supply versus demand. Right now, I think supplies are still low. They're trying to ramp things back up from, let's be honest, COVID happened a little over a year ago. Mm-hmm. It was an unknown. There's a lot of people that didn't know what they didn't know when that thing hit. And there's a lot of businesses that tighten their belts. I mean, we as a company, I mean, we went through 2009, when things weren't great back then, when the economy was kind of, in turmoil back then. And a lot of companies were having flashbacks, I think, getting nervous, seeing what happened. And, they started tightening their belts. Rather than being unprepared, they started scaling back production, expecting the world to slow down. Right, Garrett?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah, and, when you start looking at that kind of stuff, you have to think to yourself, okay, well, if you slow down there and then the demand doesn't go down, you're in trouble. And that's kind of what happened. We see a lot of companies scale back. We're not going to keep as much inventory. We're not going to have things happen. And unfortunately, companies like ourselves, we never really slowed down during that time. I mean, in fact, some parts we got busier. And the issue is now people weren't expecting us to use the quantity we normally use, let alone a growth. And it put a lot of suppliers in bad positions. And, as that happened, stock levels, really weren't where they needed to be, and manufacturing capacity was well beyond what was available. And so it really started this thing, I believe, over a year ago. I think we kind of started snowballing a year ago, and it's unfortunately been rolling too fast. You know how it is when something starts rolling downhill, you can't really stop it sometimes. And, ShopSabre fortunately has been busy thanks to, a lot of you who are listening and, you guys are supporting American Made. And it really caused our suppliers to be caught off guard. But that's not just us. I mean, really in the world in general. In your world, Garrett, the truck part industry, I mean, I think a lot of automotive companies were in the same world. I mean, look what happened to Ford and, Chevy and a lot of those companies out there. They stopped building trucks. They stopped building vehicles. They stopped doing certain things to try to maintain, levels, and people didn't stop buying vehicles. And in fact, and some people, it seems like bought more stuff during that time. And it's really led to a lot of demand that I think a lot of manufacturers didn't expect. And some of it is simply the parts that go into these things. You see some of these, stories where, like, I think it's Kansas City Speedway or something has like 100,000 Ford pickup trucks sitting there waiting for some wiring harness or something. And, it's crazy because the manufacturer of the wiring harness has probably got nervous thinking, oh, they're never going to buy what they were buying. And they stopped building as many as they needed to. And then Ford went, where's our wiring harnesses, It kind of put everybody in a bad spot. So, Garrett, I mean, by the way, did you get those truck parts yet?
Finally. I think it took probably 2 months, roughly.
Yeah? Wow.
Well, we got them.
But it's sweet. You should see Garrett's truck. It's this awesome, I think it's a minivan with dual pipes on it, right?
And I live in a van down by the river.
We can go with that. 4Runner would be the correct term.
Oh, I thought it was a minivan. I'm sorry, man. But yeah, no, it's actually a pretty cool truck. It's a pretty sweet truck that he got, and Garrett's, into that off-road truck stuff, and he's got some cool stuff. And I know some of ShopSabre customers actually make parts for his vehicle that with our machine. So that was pretty cool, isn't it, Garrett?
It was very cool. Yeah, shout out to Jacob. He's got a 4Runner, and I've talked to him about some 4Runner stuff, and he's made actually a roof rack, which I've shared previously. So that's pretty cool seeing something that I'm interested in, and then our customers making, parts for the same thing.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, and I love the shout out because obviously it's our customers that make this stuff happen. So it's kind of cool that, we joke with everybody like, you buy from us because we buy from you, and we're not wrong. Like, we really do. Like, that's who we are as a company. We're real consumers in the U.S., and we're proud to support American made just as much as our customers are proud to support it themselves. So shout out to all of our customers. I know, a lot of you guys are dealing with the same supply chain issues we are. I get some emails recently from customers that are like, I'm ready for a second machine. I'm ready for a third machine, whatever the case may be. But I can't get material to keep my first machine busy, and it's like, that's really too bad because they're so busy. They have the work to keep 2 or 3 machines running, but they can't even get the material fast enough to keep their main machine running at the level they want to. So, it's really put us, in a bad spot as far as things go. And, like I said, kind of explaining how we got there. Like I said, the COVID thing, I really think COVID in the world really changed the world in general. I mean, a lot of things have happened that has caused suppliers to scale back. The labor force, let's talk about that for a second. There's a shortage of people out there right now. You talk about a few weeks back, there was a big scare about gas. We're running out of gas. And I talked to a gentleman, I have a friend of mine that's actually in the gas business, the gas and oil business. And I was talking to him a little bit, and he's like, dude, there's no shortage of gas. It's there. We have it. We just can't get it to the gas stations. He's like, we don't have the drivers to drive the pump trucks. He goes, we just don't have the people to get it there for the demand that we're seeing now. And we went from everybody shelter in place, stay at home, don't go anywhere, to the world's wide back open. People are driving again. The traffic's crazy. It seems like things are worse than they were before as far as traffic. And how does the gas get there if people don't? Hey, Garrett, do you know any way to get the gas there without people?
Oh, man. That's actually a good question.
Maybe robots or something? Hey, Garrett, develop a
robot.
robot.
Maybe Jesse's Lund?
Jesse's Lund. Maybe that's the answer. There we go. That's actually why Jesse's not here right now. He's out preparing the Lund to bring some gas to the gas stations. But you talk about it, and really the labor shortage is a big issue right now. I mean, we're hiring like crazy. We have ads out 24/7. I mean, we can't hire people fast enough. We're growing, and the problem is the actual shortage is, I think, more people related than it is actual materials and materials and and such. Realistically, the people side of it is the labor shortage or is the issue, and where the people have gone, I don't know. I'm not sure where everybody is. Like,
maybe people are getting lazy.
Maybe, I don't know. Like, maybe just people don't want to go to work anymore. But for us, it's like we can use as many people. We have great people here, do we not, Garrett?
We do.
I mean, our people are awesome. It seems like everybody works crazy hours to keep up, and that's something that I really pride us on, is that you hear people getting upset, and when we take calls, I take calls almost every day from somebody who's upset that the lead time is as long as it is, or wants us to shorten the lead times up. And we're honest with people, like the lead times are what they are because of the demand. Like we're proud of who we are, but I can only work the guys so many hours a day. Some of these guys are putting in 14 to 16 hours a day, and the reality is what this week the highs are in near 100 degrees this week, right, Garrett?
Yep, it's been warm.
Yeah, I mean, I think our lows are in the 80s. So when you look at that, I mean, it's been pretty warm here in Minnesota, and yet the guys are still putting in 14 to 16 hour days.
They sure are.
And they're staying hydrated. That's good, right? H2O. But yeah, shout out to Waterboy, right? But the
Waterboy, you stay!
The reality is when you look at the labor shortage, not a lot of companies have the ability to keep up with what people are demanding right now, and related to that is the cost of manufacturing is on the rise. It's rising simply because demand is there, supply is not, and until the supply can catch back up, things cost more money. We have to spend more money to get more material. We have to spend more money on the same materials we were able to get a year ago, and unfortunately, that's where the pricing comes from. That's where you see some of this increase happening. as some of that stuff is happening. And unfortunately, that's where we're in that kind of, rough waters, if you will. It puts everybody in a tough spot, and then everybody thinks, oh, let's go overseas because it's cheaper. Like, that's how this starts, and that's where the problems are. Is things are good right now, but if everybody just starts selling out again, we're going to be in trouble. I mean, we're going to be starting stuff, and not me as, not ShopSabre being in trouble, but I mean the world's going to be in trouble. The ShopSabre is going to weather the storm. We always do, but, it's one of those things where you as a company need to make a decision for the long haul, not for the short-term, answer. A lot of people, I hate when people are like, well, their lead times are shorter. Well, of course they are, because they're probably not selling as much equipment as we are. Or, there's not as much demand for what they're doing. Like, if you were just looking for a short lead time, there's answers out there. Yeah, I mean, go buy a used machine, right? I mean, that's an answer. But the reality is, buy twice, cry twice, right? If you're going to buy something used, you're probably going to end up having to buy something here shortly after. And did you really save that much money then? Did you save that much time? The worst case, scenario is you wait a few weeks longer, but the lifetime support and the lifetime performance of the machine is going to be better, and it's generally going to pay itself back. So, that supply chain issue, I always tell everybody, quality is a lifetime, lead time is temporary. You can overcome a lead time. And in a year from now, think about that, Garrett. If you had sold out on those parts that you were waiting on, right? If you had gone with some cheaper brand, you probably would have got your truck done, 2 weeks earlier, 3 weeks earlier?
I could have. Yeah, I could have saved a lot of money, but I'd probably be spending more money now.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. It's like you waited out for the right parts for your truck, and, it's the same thing with anything we all do is you wait for the right stuff. It generally is a better thing long term. And, yeah, you can sell out up front and get a cheaper part and get something a little bit sooner, but eventually it catches back up to you. There's a reason why it's cheaper and why it's available. Right. Realistically, in a world right now where the supply chain issues are what they are and the world is as crazy it is, people with in-stock stuff, are they really
usually a reason.
Yeah, I mean, is there really a sought-after product like you're thinking? Probably not. They're not magically solving the world's problems. They're not magically able to tell you, like, oh, we've solved the world's problem. No, everybody else can't figure it out, but you were the one person that did. Come on. You wouldn't be doing what you're doing. You're going to be a millionaire being a consultant for everybody else, teaching them how to do what you're doing.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, the reality is, a lot of these companies, especially the Chinese importers, they've imported equipment. They have containers full of this stuff. And, now, yeah, of course they're going to have something in stock because they order it by the container. Mm-hmm. And once that container's out, they're going to be in the same issue we are with parts, except for their issue is going to be twice as bad because theirs isn't locally made. So now they're having to wait for it to come overseas. And, and as you start getting into that, I think you got to explain that what this does to the importing world. Like realistically, the containers being held up in port is a real issue. There's literally ships floating at sea at port waiting to dock. I mean, it's something going on right now. And it's because, again, going back to labor shortage, they don't have enough people to unload these boats. So there's actually a thing right now that I was Router Bob and I were talking about it, and he said that there's actually a fee out there now for exporting or loading and unloading.
Okay.
And yeah, so the docks are actually charging more money, a premium, to unload your boat first. So of course, the big companies of the world, Amazons and those type of people are able to get their boats.
Afford it.
Yeah, they're getting their boats unloaded first, and that puts people like the less volume driven companies, the people like the most the CNC importers and that at a disadvantage because they're not unloading nearly as much as what an Amazon is or something like that, and so you end up with an issue where now your stuff's floating at sea for God knows how long, maybe 30 days, and the issue about that is you're waiting on a machine part and you can't get it. So either you're going to pay an extreme fee to have it air freighted over, assuming they have the part, or you're going to wait. And, the problem with that is it's a risk on import delays. Your business is taking a huge risk there. It's all based on a risk assessment. Are you willing to put your customers on the line for a potential downfall on your machine? That's the downfall you have to think about with that, or really any part. And then you talk about risk management, the importing costs right now. People think importing is a cheaper way because it's cheaper in China. Well, it's cheaper because it's built cheaper, but once you start adding in your tariffs and your taxes and your importing and all the customs and duties and all the stuff that goes along with it, is it really going to end up being cheaper? On the front end, it looks cheaper, but when you get that bill at the end of the year, it's probably not as cheap anymore.
True. A lot of stuff you don't think about in that price.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that people don't think about when it comes to that, and explain what that does to the USA, made world. Let's talk about the extended lead times. That's something we're dealing with. We have some extended lead times. I mean, we were getting our lead times down significantly. I mean, we were putting out the highest volume that we'd ever put out with realistically some of the lowest lead times in company history. And then the supply chain thing happened,
Right.
and it really messed things up for us. So, when you talk about that, we're going to have to talk about really, controlling what you can control versus being dependent. The advantage to USA Made is we're controlling everything in-house to the fullest extent. The one thing that we can't control, the thing that we're dependent on, is the materials. We can't make the steel here, so we got to get the steel. So if we're stuck waiting on steel, we're stuck waiting. I had a customer of mine that, I get it. He's upset because he's waiting on a machine, right? His machine was a little bit later than we had even hoped for because there was an issue with Hypertherm. I'm not sure if everybody's aware of that, but Hypertherm's seeing this crazy backlog right now, and they're openly admitting it. They know they have an issue. They're working on it. They're great people over there, but the reality is it's putting people like ourselves behind because we can't build a machine without the cutter. So realistically, or we can't test a machine without the cutter, we should say. We can build the machine, but then it just sits there. And again, that doesn't make sense. You have a bunch of machines sitting on the floor waiting on something that you have no guarantee you're going to get. You got to build what you can build so you can keep production moving and keep guys employed. So,
right.
It kind of jumbles things up a little bit. And we had a customer that was a little, irritated why he was waiting on certain things. And unfortunately, there wasn't much in our control on that. And, the worst case scenario is his machine gets done and then he's waiting on a truck for a week. It's just the worst things that can happen. Like literally we have a machine done sitting on the dock and we can't even ship the thing because there's no freight company that's available at that time. Mm-hmm. So it's like you're sitting, Garrett, you've seen it. You walked on the shipping dock. It's always full. There's always something, right?
Oh yeah.
And the guys are waiting on, the shipping trucks to show up just so they can load them and get them out of here. And then the worst case, you get them on a shipping truck and then the truck breaks down. Or something happens that, it's like the normal world stuff that you can't control. And then now people are really irritated because it was already late to begin with, couldn't find a truck, and now the truck has a problem, and it's just like a snowball. Like I said, It's just you can't catch a break right now. And, and you really hope that people can understand that, we're doing everything we can. Trust me, every one of us stay up at night thinking about this stuff, trying to figure out how we can solve the world's problems. But the lead times are controlled somewhat because of the fact that we're being dependent on things that we can't control. Shipping, materials, things like that. Even though we can build the machine, we can work around the clock. If I work around the clock and run out of materials, I'm still stuck.
I think it goes back to full circle with the labor shortages. You can't find people to work. You got to pay the people who do want to work more money. That kind of all comes back around to lead times and.
Yeah, you're right. Like I said, if we could find more people, we could build more things faster, right? But we have ads out right now. We're looking for welders. We're looking for people to run in our electrical department. We're looking for all kinds of people because we just can't build fast enough for the demand. And we want to. Trust me, nobody here wants to say no to money, right? Nobody here wants to be like, oh, I'm sorry, we can't take your order. That's not, realistic. We just have to extend the lead times. And that's the downfall is that, as the lead times grow a little bit, we know we'll get back to it. Let's be honest. This isn't going to last forever, is it, Garrett?
I think we're already getting back into the swing of things. I think we're seeing improvement in multiple aspects.
I agree. I think so too. We're way better today than we were, 90 days ago. And, I think we'll continue to get better on this stuff. As far as the shortage goes of materials and things like that. But talking about stability, I think that's one advantage to buying from a company like ShopSabre in the USA is we're very stable. We've been through these crises before. Like I said, we've been through 2009. We know what to expect. We do control our own fate somewhat because we do a lot of stuff in-house where a lot of these companies, you're investing in, they don't control their fate as much. You end up in a company overseas, and the problem is they're 100% dependent on that supplier. If that company here in the U.S. that's supplying you the machine can't get anything from overseas, there's absolutely nothing they can do. They can't build something in-house. They don't even have the engineering. They don't have that stuff in-house. A lot of times they have no way of doing it. So what do? They switch suppliers. Well, what does that do to you? Now you have a machine they don't even carry anymore because in all fairness to them, they had to stay in business, right? They got to sell something. Mm-hmm. So if they can't get the one they were selling, they're just going to find something they can, regardless if it's better or not. And then the problem is if you're the guy who bought the new one because that's what they could get, did they really test it? Probably not.
Doubt it.
Yeah, they probably swapped it out for something that realistically is just easy, something they could find, something that's available. And in some cases, it works out, right? And in some cases, it does not. You end up with the product that everybody regretted switching to. So, it's a risk management thing you have to think about there. So from a stability standpoint, ShopSabre's commitment to its customers is the fact that we are going to always do what's right for the long term. We know there's ways that we can get things out the door fast and quick and easy today, but it's going to hurt you in 6 months. And that's just not a risk we're willing to take. We're willing to take a beating on our end. We take a lashing from people. We get insulted by some people because our lead times are too long. And how can you do that? I'd rather take that than to have 6 to 8 months down the road the customer telling me that we didn't sell them what they thought they were buying. I would rather our customers be happy with their product long term and be upset about the lead time up front. Because again, lead time is temporary, quality is forever. I want our reputation to stand with that. I want people to think of us and think they're always going to do the best they can within their ability. And really, we have good people around here. Everybody around the place has that mentality of pride in what they do, and understanding of what we do today is going to make a difference for the future of this company.
I think working for an American-made company, too, has an effect on that because I think everyone's a little more passionate about what we do.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's a huge part of what we do. We have to, realistically reassure the world and as a general, population. I think we all have to remind each other that, everything is going to be okay. We're going to get through everything together. I think the mass panic never works. It's never a good thing. We need to tell people that, plan. We're in a world where you kind of have just gotten used to not having to plan for anything. You can just kind of, supply is there, so you're just going to go get it when you need it, right?
Yep.
Well, it's not always been that way. And if we go back to the old school way of thinking of let's plan ahead, think ahead a little bit, put your orders in sooner than later so you give vendors the best chance, Give people like us the best chance of success rather than telling us you need a machine in 2 weeks because you have this project coming up. Well, the project 99% of the time didn't surprise you.
Yep.
Most of the time you have a pretty good indication something's coming. Let's work together. Let's try to be prepared for it, and talk about working together, make things right. ShopSabre's always going to do what it can, and I can't speak for all of our competitors. I can't speak for our industry, but I can speak for ourselves. And we're always going to do what we can to make things right for everybody. And as long as you're willing to work with us, we're willing to work with you. As I say, just be respectful of each other and know each other's understand each other's needs and, understand each other's positions, and I think that's a big part of it is as a world in general, business to businesses, whether you're out there buying truck parts or you're out there buying race car parts or whatever it is, fishing gear, I don't care what you're buying, respect the person that you're buying it from, because trust me, they're going to work through their job too, and they don't want to leave you hanging either. They want to take care of you. 99% of people have good intentions and want to just make their customers happy. So
I agree.
We got to work together a little bit on that stuff. Got to talk about loyalty. We have a lot of loyalty to our customers, and it's because of the fact that we are loyal to our product. And by you investing in America Made, you've entered in that agreement with us that we are going to try to take care of you the best we can, and that's why we give you that lifetime support and that lifetime training and all the stuff we give you, because we want people to feel secure with their purchase. And when you look at a ShopSabre, part of this world's supply chain issue is we're trying to make people more comfortable. We want people to feel secure with what they're doing. That's why we stock as many parts as we do, and we will get back to that. There's no doubt in my mind that we're going to get through all this, and it's going to be what it is, and that's the difference in buying in the U.S. and the loyalty we have is that we're going to take care of our customers. And a lot of U.S. manufacturers that way. That truck part manufacturer was very good at communicating with you once you reached out to them.
Yep.
They took care of you, and they made sure that you knew what was happening, and it made you feel more comfortable, did it not, Garrett?
No, for sure. It took me to reach out, which is the only thing I would flaw them on, but once I got in contact with them, then they told me, okay, this is what's going on. And that's really what you need to do, especially during times like these where things are so up in the air and uncertain. You just got to be straightforward and communicate with either brand to customer or customer to brand,
Yeah. I think you brought up something there that I'm glad you said, the reaching out to them first. In fairness, in defense of them, they've got, hundreds of customers. Yeah, exactly. And you only have so many employees. Again, it goes back to labor force. We get it. We see people say it all the time, like, oh, just reach out to me first. We would love to reach out to every customer first. But with how fast the world's changing, how fast things are going on, and how you're trying to put out fires, let's be honest, right? You're trying to, a supplier calls you up and says, oh, that order that was supposed to be there today isn't going to be there for 2 more weeks.
I'll put out the fire.
You jump on the call and try to figure out how to solve that problem. That's what you're doing. The last thing you're trying to do is delay that. So rather than calling the customer and telling them you just heard this, you're calling the supplier trying to solve the problem. And unfortunately, sometimes while you get so tied up in that stuff, the customer then reaches out and then wonders why you didn't reach out first. And it's sometimes you got to think about both sides of it. Obviously, as a consumer, I love when a vendor tells me something's going on. Yeah, it keeps me in the loop. Don't get me wrong, I'm not against that. But I also understand that sometimes, there is a reason why I have to reach out because they are just simply trying to do their job to keep me, moving forward rather than slowing me down. And, I'm going to be honest, as a consumer, I would rather them not call me and solve the problem than to call me and delay the problem.
Right.
I'd rather them be proactive on that stuff. So, I think there's two sides to every story on that stuff. And, obviously ShopSabre is always willing to take those phone calls and help out and get us where we need to go. But, where we're headed is a good place. I mean, let's be honest, ShopSabre's growing. The supply chain in general, I think, is going to rebound here. I'm talking to a lot of U.S. manufacturers on a lot of different things. And they're all ramping things up. And, everybody in the U.S. right now is really big on American made, which I think is a great thing. Mm-hmm. American made has to be important. And seeing how important it is to our consumers is really a great thing, for us to see, but also for the economy. And, hopefully that'll keep driving things. We're coming off of, really the past 4 years have been, pretty incredible in terms of, production for U.S. manufacturing. And, hopefully that's the same for the next 4 years. Hopefully the next 10 years we'll see this growth. Hopefully people have kind of played with that Chinese imported stuff long enough to now go, you know what, it's not the answer, it's not the solution. And hopefully for the next 10 years, we'll see a lot of people, pushing the USA made stuff and, in growth. And obviously we're going to run into hurdles. There's things that happen, but I think we're going in a good direction. Do you not, Garrett?
No, I agree. I think we're going in a good direction for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a lot of, good chatter, a lot of good things happening for people out there. Like I said, there's a lot of cool things that come from being American made. But, like I said, the supply chain issue it's not isolated to one person. The supply chain issue is worldwide. Everybody listening, if you're dealing with a supply chain issue, you're not alone, man. There's a lot of people out there that are experiencing the same problems you are and fighting the same fight you're fighting. And all we can do is, keep our heads down and keep moving. Keep doing what we can, work with what you got, and, we'll get there. Like I said, you have to go buy your $972 2x4 and, keep building things. But the reality is you can't just shut down. I think it's the worst thing you can do is just give up. We don't give up. There's no give up in ShopSabre. Hopefully there's no give up in all you customers out there. Everybody out there right now, working and listening. I hope you guys know that you're not alone. There's a lot of people out here that are, rooting for you, keep the American workforce going. That's what we want.
No, if you need some inspiration, go look at our Instagram or Facebook. You can see all our customers' work. I mean, our customers do some pretty cool stuff. If you need ideas or inspiration,
absolutely,
that's a good place to start.
I agree with that. And you know what? All those customers out that are doing cool stuff, keep sending it in. I know, Garrett, you love sharing that stuff.
I do.
Yeah, it's awesome. We're gonna start some new stuff, right? We got some new things we're gonna start rolling out on social media here shortly.
We do.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. I think you have a contest coming up, do you not?
It should be live by the time you're hearing this now. It should be live. It's going live today, so Tuesday. So we're giving away a chessboard.
Gotcha. So basically
Instagram,
yesterday. Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah, so it's on Facebook.
Go look.
Is it going to be on Instagram?
Yeah.
It's going to be on Instagram.
Yep.
Is it going to be on LinkedIn?
It can be.
Let's be on LinkedIn too. So we'll put it on LinkedIn. So there you go. If you're following us on LinkedIn, if you're following us on Instagram, if you're following us on Facebook, make sure you go check that out. We have a chessboard.
It's really cool. I kind
really
of want it.
Yeah, you can't win it.
I can't?
No, you
I
can't
got
win that.
2 accounts though.
You can't win it. That's not allowed. I veto that. You don't win.
I thought maybe I could pick myself to win.
You can't pick yourself to win. I won't let that happen.
Damn it.
But the reality is that we got some cool stuff happening there. So share your project, share some stuff with us. We love to collaborate with our customers and see what they're doing out there. Again, we support those who support us. So we appreciate everything everybody does. We appreciate everybody sharing on Instagram. Hashtag SabreNation. Hashtag ShopSabre. Those are 2 hashtags that we use quite a bit. So make sure you're sharing your work. We'd love to. We love to share the work you're doing with your ShopSabre. Reach out to Garrett. I know, Garrett, you're the man of many words on Instagram and Facebook. You do a lot of great stuff there. And obviously, I think it goes back to the supply chain issues, that we're seeing in the world is, yeah, there's issues, but there's also a lot of good things going on. And you know what? We got to share that stuff. We got to be the light right now, right? Show the good stuff. There's plenty of bad to focus on, but let's focus on the good stuff. Because you can't control everything in the world, and the stuff we can control is what we'll focus on, and
exactly,
keep ourselves moving forward. Garrett, we got demo days coming up, right?
We do.
Yeah,
mid-July.
We're what, a month away now, roughly?
Yep.
Roughly a month away.
Just under.
Yeah.
Or just over.
Just over a month. Yeah. I don't think your counting was right there, but if Jesse wouldn't have eaten so many cookies with that milk, He'd probably be here today.
I think that's what got him.
You think the milk got him? It was bad milk. He had some bad milk, and he couldn't make it in today. But
He didn't want to eat the cookie dry, so he chose to do spoiled milk.
yeah, you spoiled milk. Yeah, well, fail on Jesse's part there, right? What a loser.
What a loser.
But no, in all seriousness, like I said, Jesse had some stuff going on, so he was out of the office today. But the show must go on, Garrett.
Unfortunately, they stuck with me today.
Well, I think you've hung on pretty well today.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what the feedback is.
I think the feedback's gonna be good. You know, you've like I said, you've been able to stay with us today. You know, and you haven't shut my mic off yet, so that's kind of nice. But
Don't tempt me.
no, I know. Sorry, that's why I'm being nice to you today. But yeah, back to the supply chain stuff. You know, Garrett, one thing I would ask, you know, is when you're shopping for a product, are you thinking about the product or are you thinking about the company? I mean, when you get down to it, are you looking at, you know, if you need let's go back to your truck. I mean, that's just an easy one for me. Let's go back to your truck. When you were shopping for parts, were you looking at the product itself? Hey, I need to buy a lift. Or were you looking at, like, who is the company I'm buying the lift from?
I think it definitely depends on the product. For purchases like that, I definitely like to do my research and see, okay, who am I buying this from? Are there good reviews out there? Is this something is it gonna last, or is it gonna be something cheap? And that's why I ultimately decided to wait and get something with a lead time. But ultimately, yeah, I mean, you got to do your research. You got to see, okay, what is this company about? Check their reviews and see, like, is this gonna be worth it? Because big purchases especially need that.
Exactly, and that's kind of what I'm glad and I wanted your input on that because that's how I am too. You know, I look at the product. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, when I'm buying something, as an example, my wife wanted a new couch. Okay, we needed another couch, and so we were looking at a couch, and you know, she's just looking for the couch. You know, that's all she wanted is that it had to be the couch with this requirement, and she wanted this type of couch and this type of color and yada yada yada. And all I cared about was, like, where's it made and how's it made? You know,
right.
Like, I don't want to buy 17 couches in my life. Like, what can we buy that will last? Like, let's buy a good couch. If we're going to do this, we're on couch number 3, just for the record. You know, we're on the couch number 3. And the first 2 have fallen apart after, having them only a handful of years. And to me, I remember growing up in my parents' house and we had one couch. Like, It was the same couch the entire time we were there. Like, that thing didn't break. My kids, either my kids are way worse because they're jumping on it all the time, and my dog.
Yeah, it could be.
That's probably it. But the reality is like that's what the supply chain issue brings. You know, when there's issues now, people start looking at, like my wife. She didn't want to wait for the couch even. You know, we had to wait for the couch. She wanted to go buy something quick, and it's like, no, like let's just wait. Let's wait for the right product. We did our research. I did our homework, and you look at those reviews online and. There's always good reviews, with all the bad reviews, and you kind of got to weed through it a little bit, but the overwhelming number of reviews on the product we were looking at was really, really good. And to me, it's like...
It speaks for itself.
It speaks for itself, exactly. It's like, it's worth the wait, I guess. We'll wait for it, and it worked out. We're still waiting, actually, right now. To be honest, we still haven't gotten the couch. But we're hoping to have it in the next 2 to 3 years, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't know how long the couch is going to be. But I mean, I'm from the world of manufacturing, so I haven't been bugging them. I don't have any reason to. Trust me, they're not sitting on my couch in the warehouse like, we're going to see how long this guy wants to wait. Like, we both know that as soon as they get that couch, they're going to call us.
Oh, yeah.
They want it to leave just as bad as we do because, let's be honest, they don't get all their money until the couch leaves. Yep. So, it's one of those deals like they want to get paid. So, in order for them to get paid, they got to get a product done. And so we're waiting. I mean, it's one of those things. It is an American-made couch. I will say that. I'm proud of that. It's something made here in the U.S. And it's one of those deals where I'm willing to spend a little bit more and wait a little bit longer for a better product. And, the service is going to be there. The reality is have I heard from them since I put my order in? Nope. Haven't heard from them. I put my order in. I got one email from them saying things are on back order. They'll be in touch. That's it. And they haven't. Yeah, they're working. Like, I'm not going to start bugging them. Hey, hey, stop building. What's going on with my couch? Well, sir, we're building your couch. Like, what are they going to tell me? Like, we don't have lumber right now. It is what it is. There's a lot of things that you have to factor into your lead times. And some of it is simply just supply and demand. Their demand, I don't know how many couches they're selling. I don't care how many couches they're selling. It's not my business how many couches they're actually selling.
Do you ever wonder how those places stay in business, though, those furniture stores? With all the stuff they got in there?
Yeah, dude, I don't know, man. It's crazy. Like, when you think about that, the world of furniture. Like, all you furniture makers out there that are listening, props to you guys, because that industry in itself, man, it's a competitive industry for one. And I just don't think people truly understand craftsmanship as much as they used to. Like, no offense to you, Garrett, but I think it's your generation, man. Like, I don't think a lot of them really look at the quality of a build anymore. Like,
That's probably true. I
You
mean,
know-
I watch HGTV, but
I know, but you're different. You're an old version of you. Like, you shouldn't be in your generation, man, because you research, you do like your homework on things, but it's like, I just don't think you see that, from the younger generations. You see the gotta have it now,
for sure. Yeah, no kidding.
like, run to the store and buy it. Like, if it's not in the store, I'll find the one that's in the store, right? I mean, let me ask you, Garrett, how many of your friends truly shop instant buyers versus, looking and researching and doing their homework?
I would say not even my friends, but just a majority of people my age for sure. I mean, we grew up with technology, so it's Amazon Prime 2 days. You got to have it,
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's that Amazon Prime world. Everybody expects everything now, so when a supply chain issue hits, it's the end of the world, right? People are losing their mind because, what do you mean you don't have it available? Like, man, like...
It's going to be rough in 5 to 10 years when all my generation's buying bigger stuff like this.
Right?
Have fun with that.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, but, it's the way the world's going. The world changes. Go back 10 years ago, 15 years ago. The CNC world wasn't what it is today. So it's evolving. Companies like us are having to become very versatile, and we'll get there. I mean, it's something new. Remember, a year ago, we were in a completely different state. COVID barely existed, right? And look how much the world's changed in a year.
Yep.
How much is it going to change the next year? How much is it going to change in the next 10 years? What's it going to look like when you have kids, Garrett? I mean, like, what's that stuff look like? And so you have to remember, supply and demand is going to change. People are going to adapt. Companies are going to learn. We're going to have to adapt to make ourselves, easier to achieve goals. I don't know what I'm trying to say with that. I guess it was more, trying to make it so we're not putting ourselves in bad spots. I guess is that what we're trying to say here? Is we don't want to take the phone calls any more than people want to call us and say that they need a faster lead time than we can produce. We get a phone call and the first question out of their mouth is, "What's your lead time?" We tell them our lead time. Okay, thanks, bye. Like, that's not a fun call for us to take. Trust me. Like, we'd rather you ask us what makes your product better. Ask us that. Call us up. Hey, why should I buy the ShopSabre? Give us a chance to show you who we are, not just, what's your lead time? Well, if that's what you're looking at, I already know I'm going to lose because my lead time is longer than something that's sitting in a container or, somebody who's not selling a lot of product, and hopefully as a consumer, everybody listening thinks about that next time they walk up to somebody and, they're trying to get something that they're willing to give everybody a chance, because I think the more we give each other a chance to prove our product, the better the world is. It's okay to slow down once in a while, and sometimes we have to explain that to even our customers, and not me personally to our customers as much as I'm saying our customers to their customers. Yep. I've got cabinet makers that I've talked to that are really great guys, and they flat out said they're having no problem selling their product because their product speaks for itself. So all they do is slow down the sale and tell the customer, like, yep, there are cheaper and faster ways you can get cabinets in your house. But if you're going to keep your house and if you're going to do this, here's my construction method. This is the materials. This is my philosophy. And honestly, as a homeowner, I think that's more important to me. I'm not looking for something that's going to fall off the wall. Speaking of falling off the wall, our front counter.
That was loud.
It fell apart.
That was crazy. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, it got hot in here, and it was like 100-something degrees yesterday. And the stone fell right off the front counter.
Unreal.
Yeah, unreal. So, again, going back to build quality, right? I don't know who built that thing, but I don't think the build quality was there.
We got to find someone else.
We're going to fix it for sure. ShopSabre's going to definitely fix that. But it's crazy. I mean, that's what I'm saying is like stuff like that. I don't want that happening in my house. I don't want that happening here at work.
Imagine your cabinet just falls.
It just falls off the wall. You're just sitting there like, oh, let me grab some sugar. Oh, and there goes my cabinet, right? You don't want that. So it's worth waiting for things, that are better quality. It's the same with, the CNC machine, right? The last thing I want is one day I'm running my machine, the next day my gantry falls off it, right? Like, it just falls off the machine. Well, I'm glad I got it. Don't worry, though. I got it 3 weeks earlier. Well, that didn't pan out well. Now my gantry's laying on the floor. The dog's laying under it. Like, that
wouldn't be good.
It's a bad day. So, yeah, I mean, let's think about those things, right? Yeah, you might get a CNC machine 3 weeks earlier, but is it going to last longer? Are you going to make up that 3 weeks somewhere? That's the question you got to ask yourself. I'm willing to bet yes. Companies like ShopSabre, we're going to make that 3 weeks up somewhere, or that 2 weeks, or in some cases, it's only a week and a half difference, and it's enough to make people go crazy. Like, if you're looking at a lead time, you're probably going to regret what you're buying later on. Let's be honest. Eventually, you're going to regret it. Or, my favorite is, some of these, I had a customer call me the other day. Fortunately, he's a customer of ours now, but he wasn't a customer of ours at the time. He actually called in and he said that he was told by a competitor, and I'm not going to use names, but it was an importer, that they had a machine in stock and they'd ship it to him. And that was 3.5 months ago. So he bought a product with the understanding that there's something in stock and that, they're going to get it right to him, and that was 3.5 months ago. It obviously wasn't in stock. What it was on a boat coming here, and the boat got held up in port, and they had issues, and when it showed up, it wasn't what they thought it was going to be, and now they're trying to overcome it, and the supply chain issues have trickled down. So supply chain issues are everywhere.
It's a bad deal there.
Yeah, exactly. And so it really hurt his business, and, unfortunately, he had to scramble because his business was dependent on that, and now he bought a ShopSabre, and we have our lead time, and he was aware of it. He said the difference is we were honest with our lead time up front. We told him up front that we don't have it in stock, and that these are our estimates, and we told him our estimated lead time, and told him that, there is a chance things can go long. These are only estimates for a reason. They're not guaranteed lead times, they're estimates. We hope to be faster than our lead times always, but the reality is, if things slow down, if we can't get steel, if we can't get lumber, if we can't find a truck, if we can't have certain things happen, we can't ship a machine. We're not gonna half-ass this thing. Let's be honest. That's not who we are as a company.
Nope.
We're not gonna do things halfway. If we can't do it right, we're not gonna do it. So unfortunately, that means the machine is gonna sit. We're gonna do what we can to keep you in the loop all the time, the best of our abilities. I mean, we have liaisons here. Let's talk about them for a quick second. Brianna and Alyssa. They're awesome. Awesome. They're awesome people. I mean, if you call them up, they will always give you an update to the best of their ability, and they'll try to keep you in the loop the best they can. But I can't say enough good things about them. I mean, how many companies have that? We have a whole group of people that are dedicated to our customers to try to make sure that they have the information they need as a customer.
Just to stay in communication, give them updates. Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, they try to reach out, every week to every couple weeks. They note everything they do, and so I watch what they're doing, and they're always talking to customers. And they send out great welcome packets. I mean, our welcome packets are pretty cool, and they just do some cool stuff. So I think that, shout out to those girls, because realistically, without them, I don't think that we are who we are. I mean, they do a great job at keeping customers informed, and they're dealing with a lot right now. I mean, when you think about that, think about those people. They're used to being able to provide you an answer, and now they don't have an answer themselves.
Yep.
How do they provide you an answer? So now they're working with that, trying to help you the best they can without, really any information sometimes. When we look at some of these things like the hypertherm issue we're dealing with, we just get the answer sometimes from hypertherm of, we'll keep you informed. We'll let you know when we know something. And it's like, how do you give a customer an answer with, well, they told us they'll let us know. It's tough.
Yeah,
so
very tough.
I think, when you look at the stuff, you got to think about the supply chain issues are bigger than just one company. They're bigger than one part. They're bigger than one thing. It's worldwide. Everything's everywhere is dealing with it. So selling out to China and selling out to the other countries and importing or whatever you're doing is not necessarily the answer. You might get something quick today, but eventually that supply chain thing is going to catch up to you. It's going to catch up to you one way or the other. Get what you need. Make sure you look at the product quality. Get something for the long haul. Garrett, buy those parts. Buy those parts for your truck, but buy them from the right company, right?
Correct.
Let's keep this thing rolling. I think, like I said, we got a lot of cool things coming up. We got demo days coming up. We've got some cool contests coming up. I know we touched on that earlier in this episode, so make sure you check that all out on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and whatever the heck else we have. I think we have some Tic Tacs or something. We're on that site. And is that Tic Tacs?
We got TikTok.
Tic Tac, sir?
TikTok. Sorry, I thought it was Tic Tacs.
YouTube.
Yep, we got YouTube. Make sure you check out YouTube. Follow us on there. We got a lot of cool things going on with that. But like I said, Demo Days has a few seats left. We have a few things opening still. So if you're buying a CNC machine in the next, 90 days, make sure you reach out to your sales guy here at ShopSabre and ask him to get you on that 3-day event. It's going to be an awesome thing. We have, right now, who do we got committed? We got
Vortex.
There we go.
Becker.
We got Becker. We also have KCD. They're going to be here, the software company. We have Mosaic.
Yep.
Yeah, so we have some cool things coming, and of course, Router Bob. Router Bob, the legend himself, he's going to be running the machine, showing off how he does things, talking with you. He's a great guy. All the sales guys will be available. They'll be chatting in and out. We'll be having a good time. That week's always a fun week. I enjoy it. We get to visit with people in person, and we really get to show off the ShopSabre facility. And that's the big thing is I think people need to think about that side of it is, again, American made. We're proud of what we do. We want to show it off. So, like I said, it's been fun today. Garrett, you've been great, but I miss Jesse. I'm not going to lie. Not that you haven't been great, but you're kind of quiet, Garrett.
I'm kind of quiet.
Yeah, you're a quiet guy. You're just sitting over there playing with the volumes, I'm sure, turning my mic down. Am I still talking to somebody out there? But I see your hand on the button over there. I see you getting ready to, mute me at any given moment. So I'm Brandon.
I'm Garrett.
Thanks for talking shop with ShopSabre.